Hello everyone, it's Peter. Welcome you back. Today we will go through the EC2, Elastic Cloud Computing. I don't list all the definition and features of EC2 because we can go to the website. If you search for Amazon EC2, here is it. The official website give you a detailed explanation of EC2. So Elastic Compute Cloud, they also EC2, provides the scalable computing capacity in the Amazon Web Services. So the keyword is scalable. It is scalable. Scalable means scale up or scale down. So you can read the description, and I will explain a little bit about the scale up and the scale down, and later on we will have examples to show what's the meaning of the scale up and the scale down. It means if you have a Spring Boot app with REST API, so you can run multiple copies of EC2 instances to run those Spring Boot app, and you can run those EC2 instances over different regions and different locations. So the locations is not handled by you; it's handled by AWS. You don't have to, for example, you don't have to create a server on New York and create another server on Los Angeles. And so AWS already takes care of everything because AWS has a region. So if you log in, so there's a region here. You can have different regions over the world. Now, if one instance failed for some reason, if it has the exception or is crashed, so the user won't be infected. So it can go to another instance to get the service. Okay? So it can routing through all the different instances, and there's a load balancer can load balance can balance the traffic of different instances. And the load balancing is a different story we will also cover in EC2. And if there are many requests, so the traffic is very heavy, the system will automatically create more EC2 instances. It's called scale up. If the traffic is low, they will kill some EC2 instances. So for EC2 instance, you can define the max capacity, minimum capacity, and the required capacity. So there's a required one, the minimum one, and the maximum one. It will scale up and scale down based on your preferences. Now let's talk about some features. EC2 is a very basic unit of AWS services. So you can run lots of applications on EC2, like our Spring Boot app, and like Apache Server or other things on EC2. Now, EC2 has the following features. So we will focus on some important features. So there's virtual computing environments known as instances, like EC2 instances. And it's pre-configured templates for your instances known as AMI, Amazon Machine Images. This AMI, when we run EC2, usually we don't configure AMI, but actually you can build your own AMI. But because we are in a free tier, we just use the default one. You can configure various configurations of CPU, memory, storage, and networking capacities of your instances known as the instance types. Okay. The types, the free tier is T2.micros, so we'll mention it later. And then next is important one. There's a security login information for your instances using the key pair. And it's AWS stores. AWS stores the public key and you store the private key. So we will generate the key pairs. So AWS will generate the public key and you use PuTTY to generate the private key. I want to mention that before you go to this section, you have to install PuTTY and WinSCP on your local laptop. So this one is important. So we will create key pairs for our training. And I think only one key pair is good enough. So we can reuse this key pair. Then storage volume for temporary data that's deleted when you stop, hibernate, or terminate your instance, known as instance store volumes. This one is also a default one. And the EBS is also a default one, so we don't cover this part. And you can have multiple physical locations for your references, such as instance and Amazon EBS volumes, known as regions and availability zones. So usually we say AZ. AZ is availability zones and regions. So we can deploy your EC2 instances through different regions. So this matches the concept of distributed deployment system. And then Next is the important one, a firewall that enables you to specify the protocol ports and the source IP range that can reach your instance using security group. So the first thing is the key pair. The second thing is the security groups. So here I mentioned the two things. And the third one is role. And here in this one, it doesn't mention about the role, but the role is also important in this EC2. In the official website, so you can use the default role, like EC2 instance role. That's already good. But if you want to run your Spring Boot app, and this app might access other AWS resources. For example, this Spring Boot app might access your DynamoDB or your S3 or other services. So if you don't define a role, then the permission is the access will be denied. So when we create a EC2 instance, we better create our own role. This role can be dynamic. So if you find something is denied, then you can add permission for this role. So you don't have to stop your EC2 instance. You just need to update your role. And then when you run the when you go through the app, it will have that permission to access some resources of AWS. So we will talk about it later. So when we start an EC2 instance, we have to generate a key pair, security group, and a role for these EC2 instances. And we can do it during the EC2 launch procedure, or you can do it ahead of the time. So I prefer to do it ahead of the time. Create a key pair, security group, and a role. And I will also help you to go through the tutorial of PuTTY. Let's go to this one. Now we don't need this one, so let's go to this one. So we first go to EC2. Now I don't have any instance here, and now first you go to the key pair. Let's say key pair. Let me open a new tab. This is key pair. I already have some key pair for other instances, so I will create a new key pair. Create the key pair. The name is training key. This is a public key. And then we have to use this one. For this, not PPK. We will use this one. So it's confusing. If you first time you do this, you go to PPK directly. That's not good. So we will use PuTTY to generate the PPK with our PuTTY. So we select this PEM. And then you can add a new tag. The new tag is usually a name. So you can define a name. Is a training key. Is a training key. Give a name. This is optional. You may or may not have that, so you create a key pair. Okay. So here you should have a name called the training key. Training key here. So then you download the training key. You download the training key. Now let's go to the download part. So by default, I go to this download folder is training key. So this key cannot be used because this is public key. You also need to generate a private key. So now PuTTY comes to the picture. So we have two PuTTY. One is PuTTY. If you install PuTTY, they will have two applications. One is called PuTTY, and the other is called PuTTY-Gen. So you can use PuTTY-Gen. In this PuTTY-Gen, so we need to generate the private key. So we use in the conversions. I will do very slowly, and you need to do lots of practice to use the PuTTY. Then import key. Import the key, you go to the folder and you import this key. After you import this key, you can save private key. It will automatically generate the private key. So you save the private key. Yeah, you want to save this key, then go ahead. So I just change the name called training private key. It doesn't matter. You can use your own name. Private key is PPK. Okay. Public key is PEM. So you save it. Now you can close PuTTY-Gen. That's it. PuTTY-Gen is pretty simple. You just generate this private key. Now, this is the first step. We create a key pair. This is training key. The second one is the security group. Security group. So I generated some security group before. That's for my own practice. And there's a default security group. So let's see what's the security group for default. So let's go up. So in this one, there's the important one is inbound rule. Inbound rule is help you how to route from the outside to the inside. is inbound row. It's inbound, so from outside to inside. So basically, it has two of them. One is HTTPS, and this is all traffic with this is what you can edit the inbound rule. Yeah, this HTTPS is this is all other traffic. Okay, so I don't want this one. Yes, if you like, you can also use the default one, and you can also update the default one use with inbound rule. But I want to create my own security group. Okay. Now, so if you don't have a tag, so then you don't have a name here, so I can create. Let's see. This is another one. Let's create a security group. So I give a name. Let's say the name is training SG. Just simply say SG security group. Description is security group for training. This is optional. It's optional. VPC is the default one. So the basic thing is we have to define the inbound rule. First, we add a rule. The first rule we have to use SSH because we want to use SSH to connect to this EC2 instance. So the source we can go to anywhere, anywhere. Then next we add another rule. Another rule we can use HTTP. Let's go to HTTP. So also anywhere here. Currently, I use this one, and in the future, we may add more inbound rule if we will run some Spring app. So this rule will not be enough. Okay. But this rule, at least, we can launch Apache server with HTTP. We can go to use SSH to connect to EC2 instance. We will demonstrate later. And after that, then we can create security group. Others you don't have to change. Create a security group. Okay. Then go to security group. There's a training SG. Okay. So now there's no name. So sometimes if you see like this, there are lots of security groups. There's no name. So a better practice is to add a name. How to add a name is add a tag. So we go to this one. We can check the tags. We already have defined the two roles, HTTP and SSH. We go to tags. So for lots of services, they always have a tag, optional tag. Operation is optional tag. You may or may not add a tag, but as a good practice, you can add a tag. So we can manage tag. We can manage tag. Add a new tag. Key is name, right? So is training security group. Training security group. Just save change. Now after that, you will see this training security group. If you move here, so you can easily find out your training. Right? So this is security group name, and this is a tag name. And this is a tag name. Okay, now it's security group. Now next one, I go to IAM to create a role. IAM. Now, last time we mentioned about the user groups, policies, but we just mentioned a little bit the concept of role. Now we start creating the first role. So you click roles. So here are some roles. Your screen may be different from mine because I already built some other roles for other practice learning. Okay. Now I just create a role. The role is for EC2 instance, so you can click EC2. So the most popular roles are related to EC2 or Lambda. So you can use EC2 or Lambda. But if you want to create a role for other services, then you can choose a service to view in other cases. Now currently we use EC2. Okay. Now next I find the policy. Policy is to give the permission, right, for some services. So I just search for EC2, and you can see this EC2 full access. So because we launch EC2, so we want EC2 full access. This is the minimum. At least we want EC2 full access. Then we might want some other access. So we'll do it later. But currently, this one is only EC2 full access. So then we go to next and give a name. I say training EC2 role. I just give a name. Description: allow EC2 instance to call AWS during training. Just give a description. So here is a select trusted entity. I just use default one. This one we will mention about it later. You can edit it and add permissions. currently we only have one permission, is EC2 full access. Now I can add a tag. I can add also give a name. Training EC2 role. Just give this tag. Okay. As I said, the tag is a good practice. Okay. And we create a role. So this is a review, and you create it. So then you can search for training EC2 role. You can see training EC2 role. So now we have all the prepared all the three things: key pair, security groups, and the role are ready. Now we can come back to for the EC2 instance. So we go to this one. So it's instances. Now we start to launch instance, or you click here or click here. That's good. Now here I want to mention something else. So I think just maybe a few weeks ago, or maybe 1 month ago, there's an old UI with experience for the creating the EC2 instance. That old experience will go step by step to help you to build EC2 instance. But that one already retired. So in the current AWS, you have to configure EC2 in one page. Right? So it makes things more for the training purpose. It's more complicated. If you have a step-by-step tutorial, a step-by-step guide to build the EC2 instance, that's much easier for training. But now there's no such kind of choice anymore. So if you see other videos, they may give you a step-by-step instruction of how to create EC2 instance. Now we use the new one. So first give a name. So just give a name, say my first EC2 server. You can use any name. Now next is by default is the application OS image. So this uses Amazon Linux AWS here, and this is the 64-bit. This AMI is by default. I don't want to change it. Instance type is T2.micro. This is a free tier eligible. For free tier, you won't be charged. If you select other instance type, then you might be charged. Then key pair. So if you don't have any key pair, you can create a new key pair, right? But now we already have a key pair, so we select the training key. This is our training key. Network setting. Network setting, you can see here is your routing like subnet and network, and then you can select secure group. So we already create a secure group. So we select this one. The secure group is training SG. Right? We use this one. And config storage. So in EC2, you can configure how much storage do you want. So this by default is 8 GB. 8 GB is good enough. So actually, we don't need that much. Like 1 GB should be good enough. So just we use the default one. Okay. Then you cannot launch instance. Still not enough. You have to go to the advanced details. In the advanced details, so the important one is IAM instance profile, which is the role. Is IAM profile, which is a role. So you can select the role. Let's talk about the training EC2 role. I just search this one, training EC2 role. Okay. And then let's move down. Others we use default one. We don't have to change anything. Now here's the user file. In this slides, I give you you can copy the whole part in the user file, but currently I don't want to do that. I want to start the EC2 instance and explain to you step by step of each line, and finally in the next round I will use the whole part. Okay, now let's go back. So then here we can launch instance. Okay, so you can view all instance, you can refresh it. So you can see this is pending status. Let's wait for a while. It will finally in the running status. Let's wait for a while. Now it is in the running. Okay. Now if you click this one, you can see there's some detail. Let's move up a little bit. So the details, there's a public IP4 address, so you can copy this address. And if you go to this address, currently there's nothing in this EC2. If you run it, you cannot get anything. Right? So there's nothing, cannot be reached, right? Cannot be reached. Right? Now, don't worry about that. We will do it later. Now, so you can also, this one is the same as this one. This one is the IP4 address. This give a meaningful name. It's the same. You can also run this one. Right? Then security. So this is my security group. This security and with the inbound rule. So this is the inbound rule. Right? Now the networking storage, those things you can also monitor. You can also monitor. So you can see how many CPU utilization and status check, and if you have any visit for this website, there's some monitor. You can monitor the website with the days, hours, those things. You can customize those things. Okay, and the tags. So here is a name. Is my tag. Okay, now. Next, we want to use PuTTY to connect to this EC2 instance. So we run PuTTY. Okay. So first we need to copy this address. This is IPv4 DNS address. Now here host name is EC2 user. It's always use EC2-user at this address. Okay, we can paste this address here. So the port number is 22. This is SSH. We want to use SSH to connect to this EC2 instance. Now, next, we go to the SSH. Open this one. Go to the auth. In the auth, we use browse. We can go to this training private key. We have to use the private key to connect to EC2 instance. Then we click this one. Then we can go back to the session. We can save a session. Currently, we don't have to save a session. We can run another instance. If we save a session, this session can be imported into a WinSCP. WinSCP also want to use SSH to connect to EC2. But that one is a tool to download or upload file from EC2. So we'll do it later. Then I just say open. Okay, you can accept it. Now you connect to this EC2 instance. Okay, now let's go through the code. Even I am not familiar with this kind of like Unix or Linux code, but I can give you a simple explanation what it's doing. First, I go to this way. I can here. Sudo is to go to the top level, is to go to the EC2 user. So you can see this is EC2 user. All the commands will be under EC2 user. But if you don't go to the top level, so every line you have to add a sudo. Like the second line is to update, update -y. Without the first line, you have to run this code like sudo. You have to run this every time. You have to add sudo in front of each command line. But to save the sudo, so you just run this is update. So then next is to install Apache server. Is yum install httpd-y. So the line is use yum then install about something and -y. So in the future you may install Java, you may install Docker, install some other software. You all use the same command line. So you install server. Okay, complete. It's very fast. Then echo part we will do it later in the next example. So we start Apache server. We just system ctl start httpd. Okay. Then system ctl enable httpd. Okay. Okay. Then I think this is good. Then after that, we go to this link. This one. Let's refresh. See, the Apache server is started. This is Apache. So it means that EC2 already have this test page. We don't have any HTML, anything here. We just have a start page. Okay. Now, this is the EC2 instance. Next step, I will see how to stop this instance. Okay. No, next. Let's come back to this EC2 instance is running. So in the instance state, we have several choices. We can stop instance. If you stop instance, you can reboot instance. So you can stop it and then reboot it. So it's still the same IP, everything not changed. But another way is you can terminate instance. If you terminate this instance cannot be rebooted anymore. So it will be shut down, and finally the system will automatically delete it. So let's terminate this instance. Okay, then terminate. So if we terminate this one, will be closed because this one is also lost connection. Now, if you refresh it is shutting down is just shutting down, and after that it will be terminated. So you don't have the power to delete this instance. You can only shut down or terminate this instance. So next step, after maybe 4 to 5 hours, and then the system will automatically, you can see it's terminated. The system will automatically delete this instance. So don't worry about that. Maybe tomorrow you open the page again, this instance is gone. But currently it's still there. We have no way to really delete this instance. Now next, I want to create a second instance. So this time I will copy the code with this bin bash, or copy the whole code into the user data. And then we will see the hello world is welcome to AWS. We can see this hello world with index.html. Okay. Now let's do it again. So you have to practice a lot for EC2 instance. You can play with EC2 instance with different choices. Now let's go back so we can launch another instance. Oh, I want to mention to you that as a free tier, there's a free running time of EC2 instance for 750 hours. 750 hours. So you can see every day is 24 hours. One month is 720 hours, or 31 days is 700 and I think is 44 hours. 744 hours. It's less than 750 hours. So if you always have only one EC2 instance running for the whole month, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. But if you have two instances, each of them will run for the whole month. You have additional 700, more than 700 hours. Then you could be charged. It could be charged. So always, if you make some test, after this test, you should shut down your EC2 instance to prevent any potential charge. At most, you can keep one. You can keep one in the free tier. Now let's launch another instance. The name is, let's say, my second EC2 server. Let's do it again. Let's go through this procedure. Okay, the type is this one key pair. You use training key. You select the security group. Use the training security group. Let's go ahead. Now, advanced detail. Now, this one, the role is, let's see, training EC2 role. Okay. Now let's move ahead. For the tag, I don't have to add tag, but here in the user data, I just copy the whole code. So it means that after you launch this instance, it will automatically generate all the things. You run the command line by line, and finally it will finish everything. Okay, I copy all of them, then launch instance. Okay, view all instance. Let's wait for a while. Until it is in the running status. Okay, now it is running. Okay. After it's running, let's go to its address, this address, and let's close this one. This is a different one. So it is still not connected because, yeah, now it's coming. Hello, welcome to AWS. So sometimes if it fails, don't worry because it will install the HTTPD. It will install the Apache server. It will take some time, but now it's very smooth. Now welcome to AWS. So you can see the web page. Okay. So this is important because we will use this code to run different welcome message with multiple EC2 instances, and then we can do the load balancing. That's a future topic. Now, after that, we still connect to use PuTTY to connect to EC2 instance. We want to deploy our code to this EC2 instance with our Spring Boot application. To do that, we use the default EMP services, right? We go to this one. So let's go to EMP services. We can use mvn clean install to create the latest jar file. We will copy the jar file under the EC2 instance. This is the latest jar file. So in the target, you can see this is EMP services.jar, right? So just make sure it's the latest one. Now let's go to the PuTTY. So EC2 user to EC2 user at so this is the code and the SSH auth browse with this private key. Don't say open, then go back to the session. This time, this one I deleted. This one I save a session called my session. You can say message. You can use any name. You can use any name. Let's say save. So this is used for future use for the WinSCP. Currently, we just save a session, then we open it. Okay, now, so in this EC2 instance, do you have Java? I think there's no Java at all, right? There's no Java at all. So now we need to install Java and copy the Java files and run here with the Java files. So how to install Java? I want to install Java 1.8. So I run this one. Sudo go to this one, then install Java 1.8.0. It will install Java. Okay, just say here is yes. So it's very fast. Okay, now you run Java version. See, you can see OpenJDK. Okay, version. This is version. Okay, that's good. Now, if you say use ls, this is a Linux command. Nothing in here. Nothing here. Now, next, we want to use WinSCP to pass to upload the file to this folder. So then we run WinSCP. So it has something here. So then just delete it. That's my previous example. So this is nothing. This is empty one. So here you can also use host name and use the username is EC2 user and the host name is that IP address, right? And then in the advanced, you can save the password. I want to use the easy one. In the tool, you can import size. Import size you can import from PuTTY. Use my session. Say OK. So you import my session, then use login. So you will definitely log in. So this is the easy one. You don't have to do the same thing in WinSCP. You just open PuTTY and save a session. And if PuTTY can connect, then WinSCP will also connect. So now we will go to this EMP services and under target, I have this the EMP services.jar, right? So I can just drag and drop. Okay, now let's go to the putty, and here you can see there's emp-service.jar. Now here I don't run with Eclipse. There's no Eclipse here, so in this command line I just run with the Java -jar, then emp services .jar. Okay, finally you can see this employee app started employee in this second, so it started. Now here's a problem. If I started this app, how can I call the API, REST API? Okay, I will think about the hello world, right? So because we have hello, then first let's run this one, and here I have this one. Then it's emp manage hello. I believe it's this one, right? So I believe it's this one. So if we see the code, the make sure I give the correct. The root path is /emp, and hello. Let's see the controller. So it's manage and /hello. Okay. Then this should be manage hello. So not found on this server, right? Why? What's the reason? Because this is the routing policy. Let's come back to this one. So you can see in the security, it doesn't provide this 8080 because our service, Spring Boot app, exposed the port number for 8080, but there's no 8080 here. So then we need to edit the inbound rule. So then go to the training SCG. Okay, so you can edit the inbound rule. In this one, you can add a rule. You can add a rule. You don't have to restart your EC2 server. You just add a rule here. So EC2 server is running. The EC2 server is running properly. You don't have to restart it. So you just add a rule. Here you use custom CCP. So here you use 8080. Okay. Then you go to anywhere, add this one, and save the rule. Now, this is 404 not found. Now let's run it again. Still not found. And then here we add column 8080. Hello, welcome to Spring Boot REST, right? See this? You have to add the port number 8080, then with all the root. And then we give a good one. This is like manage search, right? Search Alice. So this is Alice. Oh, here's one. I have the JSON plugin for Chrome. If you don't have that plugin, so this JSON format may be in a line, one line as a string. So if you want, you can have a JSON plugin for Chrome. You can add this plugin, JSON formatter, JSON formatter. Okay, then you add to Chrome, right? Because I already have the JSON formatter. So then if you want, you can just add to Chrome. So then in the Chrome, then you will have a good format, not in one line. So it's successful for this one. Okay. And we can also save. We can also use SOAP UI to save a record based on this URL. And let me launch. So I need to launch my SOAP UI. Okay. Now before that, let's see this, right? So you can see the console. This is all the console from the screen. But that doesn't look that good. So we will talk about that some other ways, but at least we can see the console. Now, So we already have EMP services here. Now this is our project, but in this one, it's all local host, right? So we should use a new one, create a new REST project, and then let's talk about this URL. I just use EMP. Okay, then say okay. So I don't want to save it, so I just give an example. I used a post service. So this is the EMP save, I believe. So then we have a name. It's the employee name. Say, let's give a name. Let's say David, and then salary. Say, 30. This one. Okay. Then I can call run it. It's not found. Oh, there's not save. There's a manage. I missed the manage. Then save. Let's run it. Successful, right? Then after that, then you can say David. It will be there. Say David successful is 2, right? This is salary. Now there's something I want to do another test. So if the salary is not in a good format, so because we have a bug here actually. So if you see the post code, post mapping. So if we want to save this EMP, so there's a mapper, right? In the mapper, they will set salary integer passing. This could throw exception. If it throw exception, what can we do? Okay, I just intensively give you ABC. Let's say Tom. Let's run it. So internal server error. So if you go to this one, so there's an error. There's an error. So some error may cause the server to be stopped. Let's see if my EC2 server is running properly. So this EC2 is running, but let's see if this can still work. This still works. So this bug will not cause that big trouble, but some bug may cause big trouble to stop the server. But currently it's not. It's not. Okay. Now this is an example of deploying our Spring App to EC2 instance. So we will go through some important things. To run EC2, you have to define key pair, security group, and role. And you can install the Apache server. And if you want to install Java, you can install Java. You use SCP to upload, WinSCP to upload your Java file to the EC2 instance, and you can run it from the command line. Okay, so this is one way. And the next time we'll talk about the load balancing and a different way, which is called the Elastic Container Service to launch it. So, for example, if I close it, if I stop it, I close all of them. This is no. Okay. So, sorry. I just close it. Okay. Now, can I run it? Also run it. See, it cannot be wrong, right? So, in other words, you cannot always keep this the app running during that console. After you close the console, what can you do? Then it stopped. So we want it to be permanently running. So another way is use Docker, Docker image. We use the ECS to deploy it. But don't worry, we will go through that later. Next time we will talk about the load balance, and then we go through the ECS. Now in this class we can stop here. Thank you.